can feel it, dude! You can feel it! The power of the Ultimate Warrior!
Wow.
I don't know how those guys did that.
They must have had a lot of cough drops.
Well, that and another thing that starts with a C and an O.
I don't even know.
It's a drug. Allegedly. I think a lot of wrestlers did it. Allegedly.
Starts with a C and an O?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's also a drink. Coca-Cola.
Oh.
Cocaine.
Thank you. Welcome to the Squared Circle. I'm Anthony Tardamel, alongside me, Justin Greenberg, and we are here for the next half an hour to talk to you about pro wrestling. And we have a lot of topics today.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And they're not all pertaining to WWE. So if you're somebody that likes more than just WWE, you are going to be in for a treat.
We get that a lot. A lot of people are like, when are you going to talk about this? When are you going to talk about this?
So listen today, guys, because today's the day we're going to talk about it. And
Yes.
I got to say, we discussed the one topic that I wanted to get to, and the most appropriate way to discuss it, and I don't think we ever figured that out.
No,
fully.
we didn't.
So we'll tiptoe around it the best we can.
Yes.
Is that fair?
It's going to be tricky, but I think we could do it.
We can do it. I have faith in us. You can call us at 516-572-7440 if you want to yell at me about my opinions, or Justin's, I guess.
You got to take it up with the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
If you want to mess with us, we don't play nice. We will. We'd love to hear your opinion, though, and if you have a different opinion, so be it. Because that's what's so great about pro wrestling. I think that's what's great about a lot of things is the varying opinions. Like me and Anthony, we're going to be talking about the wrestler Joey Ryan and his maneuver that he does with a certain body part, and it's the wrestling community is split on it. I think there are the fans that think it's funny, and then there are the fans that are just like, why is this a part of pro wrestling? Like, what would Bruno Sammartino think about seeing that?
I would love to know. We'll get on that. We'll get on what's happening tonight on Raw, the only confirmed thing that I've seen, which is the two triple threats for figure out a new number one contender for the women's title. We'll also talk about last week's dream match between John Cena and Shinsuke Nakamura. You can also watch us live on Facebook, facebook.com/squaredcircle903. You can give us a like, and you can watch primarily the back of my head, I would say.
And you can see, like, the corner of my face.
I try to get the microphone, but you're not making it easy. Sitting in the corner there. See, look at this.
The less you see, the better.
So let's start with Joey Ryan. So for those of you who don't know who Joey Ryan is, he is a professional wrestler, and he has gained some popularity in a lot of indie circles. He wrestles for Pro Wrestling Guerrilla out in California. He's done some stuff in Japan. He's on Lucha Underground. I believe you said he was on TNA.
Yes,
briefly.
he was on TNA.
And he's a guy that really hasn't caught on as a general regular wrestler.
Like
I didn't
a
even
big star. Well, because you know what? There's only one big promotion, at least in America, and that's the WWE, and he's yet to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, a lot of people might not know him, but I think, he kind of blew up last year.
Yeah, he has started to blow up in the past year due to his new maneuver. Now, I'm not going to say the name of it on the air because it is...
Is that the actual name?
Yes, that is what it is referred to as. But basically, his opponents will grab his, let's say, genitalia. And he will flip them with it because it is apparently so strong it can send pain through your arm. Not kidding. You can look this up, and he can flip these people.
Yes.
With
what was Robin from Batman? What was his name? Do you know his real name?
No, I don't recall.
It was Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just say his Robin.
Yes.
It's a Robin flip.
Yes. There you go. So that's basically what the move is. Now, there's been a lot of division in the wrestling community about this, and I want to just give our take on it because I think we represent, and I think the good thing about this show is that we both represent very different eras of wrestling that we're big fans of. You're a bigger fan of the 90s and 80s.
I like the 90s and 80s for sure.
I'm more of a fan of the post-Attitude Era wrestling. Not that I dislike Attitude Era wrestling, but that's really when the majority of my watching took place, was after the Attitude Era was over and done with, and now. That's when I watch most of my wrestling. So I think we represent two different eras of wrestling. However, my opinion opinion on this, and I want to hear yours too, is that I think it's just a really stupid... It's something that you do in... How do I explain this? Okay, so wrestling obviously is fake. We all know wrestling is scripted.
What?
It's scripted. We know who's going to win.
Yes.
And, for the most part, a lot of the action is not real. There is a lot of punching. Some of it is real.
Some of these guys are stiff. Watch Vader wrestle.
Yeah.
That ain't fake.
Yeah, watch Nakamura too. He really gets you. So there are guys that are considered stiff, which are guys that will actually hit you.
Speaking of stiff, we're going to talk about Joey Ryan's maneuver.
So there are some guys, and there is some sense of realism to it. However, the point of wrestling, at least to me, is that it's supposed to be a dramatization and kind of like a Hollywood-ism of actual fight.
Yes, that's what Bret Hart took pride in with his professional wrestling. He wanted it to look real. So he didn't even like, crazy acrobatic moves for the sake of it, because if you're in a real fight,
you're not going to jump off.
You're not going to do a triple moonsault. You're just going to, do a clothesline, whatever, certain moves.
Yeah.
But, so to do Joey Ryan's move completely takes you out of that element because it's so far-fetched. There's no logistical way that this maneuver is possible.
Yes. Exactly. And I think that's the problem. So I can accept in wrestling you have silliness in wrestling. And wrestling inherently has been silly.
There's so much silly stuff.
There's so much silly wrestling.
Red Rooster, the gobbledygooker, even guys like Santino Marella with his Cobra thing. There's a lot of stupidity in wrestling.
Right. And I can accept those things for what they are. They're a joke. But when you take a guy like Joey Ryan, a guy who is not able to get over, and when I say get over, if you don't know what in wrestling terms, getting over is just becoming popular with the fans, and, getting a big gig or something like that. When you can't get over on your pure wrestling ability, and then you have to resort to doing something like this for people to even know who you are. Like, nobody talks about Joey Ryan about, wow, he's a great wrestler, and he happens to do this move. It's all about the move. So this guy is just obviously not a good enough wrestler to be considered a legitimate wrestler on his own. I mean, you knew he was in TNA, but
I knew he was in TNA. I didn't really hate him there. He was charismatic, and I don't remember him being the worst wrestler. The only thing that I'll defend him with is if he wasn't getting famous and he's been in wrestling for, let's just say he's wrestling for 10 years and he hasn't made a name for himself, but he's trying his hardest, and he happens to find something that worked, I don't blame him for continuing that and, getting as much money possible for doing this stupid maneuver, because I don't blame him. I blame the promoters for, allowing something like this to happen. But for him, he's got to put money on his plate. I believe he just got engaged. So, I don't blame him for trying whatever he has to try to get money. But I know a lot of wrestling purists are against this. Your man, Jim Cornette, went on a tirade. I know he's not a fan of him to begin with, but this maneuver, Jim Cornette is not a fan of. And earlier this weekend, a guy who I believe we're both really big fans of, Mick Foley, took the maneuver.
He sold it with Mr. Sacco on. And again, we're talking about a silly maneuver as it stands, which is the Mr. Sacco move. But it's just, when you're taking guys like Mick Foley and Cody Rhodes, and they are selling this move, you are making the rest of their work, you're devaluing it. Because these guys put in so much work to be considered legitimate wrestlers. And now, I mean, they're big enough, they'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think it's going to affect them at all.
But it makes them look dumb, and it makes them look stupid. And if you're a guy that's up and coming, and you sell that move, right, you are now, anywhere else you go, this guy, how can you take him seriously as an actual wrestler that can beat people when Joey Ryan flipped him with his junk?
Let's just say Joey Ryan's the third match on the card. Yeah. And then he does that maneuver. Yeah. How are you going to believe the next fight? Yeah. It ruins, the rest of the card for the other workers, because they're... Okay, so if this guy just sold that move, obviously that clothesline's fake. Obviously, that headbutt's fake. So it kind of, stains the whole product. But like I said, I think that's the promotion's fault. Yep. I don't think Vince McMahon would allow that, especially in this PG era. And I think, if a company has more pride, they would deny him from doing the move. But I think to end this topic, I think, I don't fully blame him. Like I said, what's your final say on this product? This move should it be done, or do you blame him? Do you blame him?
I think that if you're not a good enough wrestler that you can't get over, you should find a way to get over and not make the rest of the people that you work with look like idiots. Because he's making his whole industry look bad. I think that's what it does. I think it makes the whole industry look bad.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to know our buddy Tom North, who's been on the show, who just celebrated his birthday yesterday.
So happy birthday, Tom.
Maybe
I'll have to ask him.
Next time he's on the show, we should ask him his thoughts, since he is a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
What would he think if he was on the card with a guy like Joey Ryan? And I'm shocked that GFW, Global Force Wrestling, has not signed Joey Ryan.
Yeah.
It would be something that they would do.
Yeah, honestly. But that's that. And
let's move to the major leagues, guys.
Also want to mention something in the indies. This weekend, we do have Progress coming over across the pond from England. They'll be over here doing a show in Corona.
This is great.
Yeah, I'll be there. So you gotta be there.
I'm going to try and get there. Yeah. This is awesome. You get wrestling right in our backyard, essentially, in Queens, and then we could, head there and watch a different style of pro wrestling. The European style is, it's a little different, but I think the fans that are going to go there are going to appreciate it. And we got some WWE superstars going to be there.
You have Pete Dunne will be defending the UK Championship against Jack Gallagher.
That's great.
And last time we saw Pete Dunne on TV, he put on one of the best matches of the year.
Match of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm really, really excited to see this match and to go to the event. So it's August 12th, which is this Saturday in Corona, Queens. You could Google it. I don't know exactly. I think Ticketfly is selling the tickets. So if you want to go, I think they're like $25. It's not too bad for general admission. But in those third places, it's like general
and it's
admissions.
Probably, if you have the worst seats, you probably have really good seats.
Yeah,
because it's not going to be in a giant venue.
No.
So if you want to see pro wrestling and you're around that neighborhood and you got nothing to do on Saturday, go check it out. But let's head. We're heading to the biggest party of the summer, Anthony.
That's it. And we lost a match.
We lost a match
that was made is gone.
And I think this is for the best. Yep. I don't like to see anybody get injured, but to me, one of the hottest angles going in the company was Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss, because that's the match you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Even if it wasn't at this point, I would have just said yeah. Because it was perfect.
You know what? They have some real heat with each other. I don't know if you've been watching some of the backstage promos that they've been cutting, but Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss are not fans of each other in real life. It's got the sort of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels type of thing going. And if you could get real life stories behind the rivalries, it makes it much more interesting for the fans to watch. It makes them step up their game to prove that who's the actual better wrestler, even though it is staged. They're going to want to one-up each other. And it should have been the match that happened at SummerSlam. It just so happens Bayley became the number one contender to take on Alexa Bliss. Bayley hurt her shoulder versus Nia Jax, who's a very clumsy wrestler and probably should still be in NXT because she injures everyone. And now we're going to decide tonight, right? Who the number one contender is? Or we get two triple threats?
Two triple threats tonight.
Okay.
So
who are 6 women on the roster?
Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Sasha Banks. Emma. Alicia Fox. Mickie James. Dana Brooke.
What a weak roster.
Yep. And it doesn't help that you only see 3 of them a week. So.
Yeah. I completely forgot Mickie James is on the WWE roster.
It's such a shame because when she came back, right, to SmackDown, that whole comeback was really just very bad. It was handled poorly.
Yeah,
there was no surprise.
Right from the get-go.
Yeah, it was bad. I don't blame her though. I just think fans are kind of moved on from that era of wrestling.
Yeah, agreed.
I like Mickie James. She was my favorite women's wrestler like back 10, 15 years ago when I watched like religiously then too. She was my favorite by far on the roster. And I just think now what was acceptable then out of a wrestler is no longer acceptable.
When you
for
have
a women's
Charlotte
wrestler.
and Sasha doing what they do.
And Mickey's not even that bad,
No, she's
but
not
she's just
bad.
they're on a different level than her. Even people like Emma, Dana Brooke's not very good at wrestling.
Dana Brooke's terrible.
Yeah, she's terrible. But outside of Dana Brooke and Nia Jax, the rest of them are all pretty much Alicia Fox too.
She's all right, Alicia Fox.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 2 triple threat matches. We don't know who's in each triple threat, right?
No.
So I'm assuming it's going to end up being Sasha versus Nia Jax in the finals.
I would like it to be Mickie. I think that would be a really nice, she deserves